Okay, so we're going to get into personas. Our first speaker of the morning is Molly Bryant. Come on up, Molly. Woo! Molly joined us in January as our new VP of Marketing. And essentially what we're doing is kind of talking about some of the things that we've done with building personas in our own business and how it kind of relates to a foundation for Amazon sellers. So Molly, take it away.
Thanks. Where's the clicker?
Oh, yeah,
There's the clicker. Well, good morning. I'm excited to see everybody bright-eyed and bushy-tailed after last night. Yes, I was part of the losing team. So excited to announce that. Thank you, team, for hanging in there. We did try, and we didn't cheat, so I'm pretty excited. Yeah, so I want to talk to you about, I'll tell you a little story and see if this clicker works, too. Does it work? It doesn't work. It's not working. Help. Eric. Tell me I don't have to stand by the podium. I know it was working earlier, but it never works when you're actually live. I'll click through. Oh, that way. All right. User error. There we go. In 2014, my life was turned upside down because I found out I was pregnant. And then a few weeks later, I found out it was twins. Okay, so that was not a few weeks later. I was literally in labor at that time. But that's what twin pregnancy looks like. Needless to say, because at that time, this was my husband's daily driver vehicle, we kind of figured out it might work with one car seat, but two, not a chance. We needed something bigger, something safer. We needed something easier to get what felt like a tribe of children in and out of. What we really needed was a minivan. But when I waddled out of the dealership at approximately 800 months pregnant, what did I have the keys to? Or more appropriately, what did my husband have the keys to? A gently used sports car. And that's because people buy products that they want, not necessarily what they need. And as Amazon sellers, you know this is true, and you also know, or at least I hope you know, how to win. You win by figuring out what your target customers want and selling that. Now, I know you don't think I'm going to stand here and suggest that you overhaul your product catalog and sell other things, ditch the things that are not working, and sell new products that will work, because that's not what I'm about. Where I think we actually fail, because I know that in our industry, we fail. We fail because we can't persuade buyers when we don't see their human side, their motivators, why they buy. We treat customers too much like data points, and we lose the human aspect. We lose the ability to connect to their emotional triggers. We stop being able to think about what they want. And so the technique of the buyer persona is a way to take data and humanize it. Add the human element back into the data about your customers and about your target customers. The term persona refers to a personification of your target buyer. It's like, I'll show you some slides in just a few minutes of an example if you haven't seen one before. It's heavily used in our industry, in IT, to flesh out things like the demographics, psychographics, behavioral data, and motivators of a buyer, a type of buyer, if you will, a group of buyers who have things in common. Exclusive of bias and built on data. I am such a data person. Who here thinks they're more of a soft skills person, not a numbers person. Very few of you, and I'm not surprised by that. Amazon selling is a numbers game, we know that. And for those who are attracted to numbers, this is a new way to look at those numbers. But the thing that developing personas really helps you do is find out what your customers want, what their trigger points are. And it helps you to make more customer-centric decisions, like optimizing your listings more effectively, crafting better subject lines for email or text, informing advertising a little more effectively, identifying and prioritizing buying channels by target persona, especially based on age and also gender to some degree. But the one thing you should absolutely never do after today, because as of Katie and I joining Seller Labs, we don't do this, is launch a product without tying the product to one of your target audiences. Never, ever again. Repeat after me. Never again. Never again. Never launch a product without tying it to your audience. So let's get started. How do we build a persona? What do we do? That's what I'm going to take you through today. So the very first step is assembling data and making what Katie and I like to refer to as assumptions that you'll validate a little bit later. But making assumptions, what that means is looking at some baseline information about your customers. Who are the people who are buying from you today? This is from Facebook. This, I can tell you, is fairly accurate. These are some examples of our demo samples. We actually look at different data. We don't look at individual consumer data, but you would most likely. I can tell that they're majority male followers. They're majority in the 25 to 34 age range, 35 to 44. It's a good start. It is not enough, but it's a good start. Because what you want to do is get to a starting place for 1 to 3, no more than 3. 1 is an okay choice. It is a fine choice to start with one target persona, to start to build out from scratch, get to know it, and then recraft all of your content around it. Because there's going to be a lot of data that you do have to look at. Do you need every single thing on my list? Certainly not. But you need a lot of it. You need to start thinking about the data that you can get from your sources. Sources like Google Search Console, perhaps Amazon Brand Analytics, e-commerce. What do you know about your customers today? Social media is also a great source. Not advocating stalking your customers, but peek at your customers. Finding basic demographic data is great, but there's one item at the end of this list that is incredibly important for you to know about your target persona. Lifetime value. The dollar amount you can assign to the total quantity, gross, of products they will buy from you over their lifetime. What are they worth to you? There's not a perfect number. We look at lifetime value. It's fairly easy for us to see in the SaaS world. It should be fairly easy for you to see in repeat buyers. How much do they buy over time? Lifetime is a little tough because, let's face it, the digital world has not seen a lifetime yet. But if you aim for at least the next 2 to 3 years in terms of lifetime value, or the last 2 to 3 years, I should say, you should have a fairly good picture of your customers. But it's a very important metric because it will help you prioritize in the case that you have a large number of personas long term and you're trying to prioritize. It can be a helpful metric. Is this the target? Are they worth investing in for more products, for more product launches? But you also need behavioral and motivational data. I pulled this screenshot because this is the exact type of information you're looking for when I talk about motivational data. Why did they buy? And reviews are an excellent source, both to find why happy people bought and why unhappy people bought. Because they will often tell you why they bought the product, especially if they're unhappy. They will tell you why they bought it and then how it fell short. And that's incredibly valuable information when you're starting to build more marketing content, more digital content, listing content, to see what it is. What is that trigger point? What is the thing that people were looking for at the time of clicking buy? I'm going to give you the flashy screenshot of a persona. This is actually our persona. Katie cleared my use of the screenshot just to give you a little bit of a picture of the fact that we actually do this today. We spent 2-3 months, can't quite remember, Cindy probably would remember, working on personas at Seller Labs to help identify our customers. We fleshed them out with photo for each one of them, with details about revenue, length of time on Amazon, buying motivations, how we will work with these types of customers. And the fun part, because there's a fun part, is naming them. We actually named all of ours after scientists, inventors, and generally smart people. Hence, Galen Galen is actually named after a scientist. There are a ton of templates out there. And at the end of this deck, I've got a link to one that is way more than you would ever need. But you can check this one out as the sample, refine it, cut it down to just the basics. Because once you organize your data into something like what I just showed you, you've got some of your work done. You're not quite yet ready to use it actively, because you now have to move into what I told you we do with assumptions, and that is validate those assumptions. Validating an assumption means that you're checking to make sure that your assumption is indeed accurate. The things you thought were true, are they true? And this is going to take a little bit more of a, this is not DIY. You need to involve your customers in this process. My recommendation is that you reach out to the people who are buying from you actively now and incentivize them to help you. Ask them questions. You can do an online survey. You don't have to do a phone survey. You can do that. I highly recommend you do at least one or two, and don't do them with people you know well, but do them with customers who are happy, who are buying from you. Reach out, offer them a special incentive, and ask them questions to make sure that you're on the right track. And then dig deeper. How did you find us? Why did you want this product or these products? Why? Why did you choose our product? How did you feel? How do you feel? How did you react to purchasing the product and then to actually having the product? And how do we reach more people like you? Get their opinions and match them up to the data you've got. And once you have a workable model, this is probably where the part of this session where you really were interested in listening. If you showed up this morning, maybe you wanted to hear Jeff, but this is probably the part that spoke to you about this session title, is actually doing something with a persona. And there is a lot that you can do. But it comes down to, or the way that I would suggest you think about using a persona is primarily for storytelling. Telling a story that appeals to the person in your target audience. Because you're not just selling a product, you are selling a solution to a problem in your buyer's life, and there are likely lots of solutions to that problem. Some of them are better than others. But you're selling a solution, possibly a lifestyle. You will sell that lifestyle by using your persona to craft word choice, tone, and visuals. And these things will be in Amazon, but they will be on your direct-to-consumer site. They will be in any other collateral, in branding, in photography, in email, in social media, and every channel you have. But let's talk about these three things because they can be a little confusing, and I want to give you some tools that you can use. So the first one I gave you is word choice. And word choice is, you could think about it by asking, when my buyers talk to me, when they talk to others about me, how do they talk? What are the words that they use? And reviews and social media are great starting points for data. So are interviews and conversations with those customers. If you meet them face to face, understanding, listening actively, taking notes on the words they use, it's easier to do it with reviews, frankly, and social media is the best place. But it's great to hear customers. How many of you did a video yesterday? Thank you so much for doing that. I told most of you that we were doing a little of this too. We were doing a little of this probing in those videos. We wanted to know about your experience with our products, but we also wanted to know about your perception of us, and we wanted to hear the words that you're using. How do you feel about Seller Labs, and how do you talk about us? Because we have the same problems we're trying to solve in making sure that our products and our solutions are perfect for you. So let's take a couple of examples and unpack this a little. I pulled 2 books, the descriptions of 2 books from Amazon. Just read this one. I kind of don't want to read it out loud. Just take a moment. I bolded the words that are very particular to the demographic this book is targeted to, because this was an excellent example. Yeah, it feels weird reading these out, but let's pick one. Wide tapered back. The things that jump out to me are these words were chosen to be descriptive, easy for the target audience to visualize themselves having those things, and they're powerful words. Bulging is a powerful word. Powerful is in there. Strong. But then look at this one. It's a little easier for me to read out loud. Comprehensive plan to build a rock-solid fitness foundation as you build lean muscle where you need it most. That sounds totally different. Those words are not descriptive at all. I cannot visualize what stronger bones really looks like on me. I can't really visualize what more endurance means to me. I know what it means, but those are more benefits. These 2 different books are both fitness books, tailored to 2 totally different demographics. One for men and one for women. Should be obvious. And they are very obvious examples of targeted word choice. Something very closely related to word choice is tone. Tone is the quality of your voice. And what that means is that after you understand the types of words that appeal to, are used by your target audiences in their reviews, in their feedback, in their comments, you nail some of those words down. You work on tone to draw those words together, to craft the story and make your listing, your email, your sale page, whatever it is, tell the story with the powerful words in a way that mirrors and matches the way that your customers speak. So let's take another example. Same 2 books. So if you read this first example, the thing you'll see, its structure is very particular, matter of fact. Look, guys, here's the deal. Building muscle and burning fat isn't as complicated as you've been led to believe. You don't need to do this, you don't need to do that. It's direct, it's assertive, and I say it's slightly intimate. Now, what do I mean by that? It's a little conspirational. Guys, you've been looking for the secret to a wide tapered back. This book is the secret. Only you know about it. The other book, because most nutrition products are designed for men, it's no wonder so many female athletes struggle to reach their potential. This tone is totally different. It is supportive, educational, and if you read the whole thing, what you'll see is it's very gently enthusiastic. It's trying to drive the point that we will help you, this book will help you, you will learn something here. This is more than just a get, fit, fast sort of solution. Again, two totally different audiences, two totally different tones. And then the third piece where you will need to use your target personas is in your visuals. Excuse me. From sizing to fonts, you should be able to deliver formats that appeal to your personas. Now, those of you who did the videos for me yesterday met Matt. Matt is a recent joiner of Seller Labs. He works for me in a capacity focused on visually interpreting what we learn about our target personas. And that's why he was talking to you yesterday, because he will be in charge of visually overhauling our brand so that it is more usable for you in a lot of ways. You cannot underestimate visuals. In the software industry, we have to, because that is how you interact with our product. But in the retail and e-commerce field, realize every interaction that your customers have with you digitally also is basically software. It's important to a company who's building software. It should be important to you. And voice, visuals, all of those things are very closely tied to whether people will buy from you through an e-commerce site that you have nothing to do with. It also impacts email that you send, whether it's a product that we provide you like Feedback Genius or Amazon or your own email program. Email designs, your own website design, and your brand are all things that you need to be informing with details from your personas. Types of media. Matt educated me on this by asking me a couple weeks ago, well, what kind of photography should we use? I don't know, the kind we could download from iStock Photo? He's like, no, we're not doing that. I never thought about it, but the types of photography used on a site are incredibly important, and I confirm that wholeheartedly myself. Video also, is that something your target persona will interact with? Animations? None of those things? Peter said yesterday, I think it was Peter, thumb-stopping images. I think that was him. And that spoke to me, because that is something you can directly control and design based on your target persona, what appeals to them. So let's look at a couple of examples. Again, not the books this time. I will spare you the people who were featured on the fitness books. Instead, we'll go back to the BMW example. So when you search on Amazon for BMW products, the one thing that you will note over and over again, and this is so true, especially for my husband, the logo is featured right in the middle of every photo, because BMW buyers are buying the logo. That logo to them is tied to the idea of performance. Even though they may be a dad of 3 children under the age of 4, who can't even fit all those children in the car anymore, they imagine themselves burning up the roads in their BMW gently used sports car on the weekends, even though they're driving to work. That logo is what speaks to that target buyer. But the wife of that target buyer is looking for things like seat protectors And the imagery used in those products on Amazon include things like children and pets to prove these things are tried and tested for mess-avoidant mothers. Images sell your product based on that lifestyle we talked about earlier. It proves that the lifestyle they're looking for, the solution to the problem they're trying to solve, is your product. And if you can prove that with a single image, once you've gotten them there with the listing optimization, the right words, you've made that sale. Now, I will challenge you to try this yourself. Not tonight. Whoever was implementing stuff last night after the bar, I commend you. I would not have had that wherewithal, so good job. Maybe do this tomorrow. Start doing it tomorrow. There are a few next steps. It won't take you that long to get started, but it will change the way that you think about every product that you market and launch. The very first piece of advice I would give you is to start small. I said earlier, 1 to 3. Seriously, no more than 3, because it can become complex. We have how many personas? I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 8, 9. That's a large mix. So start with 1 or 2 or 3 and get the data together. Pull customers, buyers to interview. Get those set up, or at least get the survey set up. There's a lot of great examples online you can Google. And put it all together. Start putting it all together. This template is, again, incredibly comprehensive. It's way more than you will ever need, but it's a good place to start. I think all the slides will be sent out, or if not, I run marketing. I can get Caroline to send the email with the link to it. And start refining your messages, your listings, your web presence, and your brand targeted to the buyers you want to sell to. That's it. Thank you.